Our story begins with a man saying, "My name is Sha Feng Liao, and I am the leader of humanity's strongest group. After we finish attacking the demon's final base, I will finally be able to marry my goddess. However, my friends, I ended up dying on the way. But in the process, I was reborn, only this time as a demon." He then continues, "I definitely have to go back to get married." Just then, a system appears and says, "Warning, you can be reborn as a human, as long as you die again. If you kill yourself, it won't work." The man then replies, "This is my chance, since dying, my friends, is very easy for me. My master was Kuririn from Dragon Ball Z." The scene changes to the princess of the human world called Hao Jingna, who says, "My dear, after you defeat the last demon and unify the continent, we will have the greatest wedding of all." Sha Feng Liao, who is the strongest golden warrior of the human race, asks her not to worry, because he will bring victory to everyone. Then we see the highest level demon cave, where the level 555 demon king, called Ball Woman, is waiting. "Ah, that's a great name, isn't it?" he thinks, before setting off to confront the demon. Today marked the 18th year since he joined the army. He says, "I led the strongest human squad to attack the highest level demon cave. In the last attack, we took back the human territory. The millennial-long struggle between demons and humans will end with me, and you can be sure that the humans will be the victors." The demon then asks, "Is that so?" The protagonist's system detects danger, and the demon declares, "Even in my death, I will take you with me." The demon begins to grow, becoming gigantic, and transforms into a second form, looking like Cell in his second form. The protagonist, with a funny expression, comments, "Dude, what the fuck?" Our protagonist simply says, "I died in the middle of a nuclear explosion." The system then informs him that he has only 2 minutes left to live and then announces, "Congratulations to the host. Due to your leadership in the army, with 551 victories, and your outstanding contributions to the human race, you have been chosen for a chance to be reborn. Would you choose to be reborn?" He then clicks on the rebirth option, as it wouldn't hurt to have a second chance. Suddenly, everything goes dark, and when he opens his eyes, he realizes that he has indeed been reborn. "That bastard demon king thought he could kill me, didn't he? But it's not going to be that easy, my friend." Suddenly, he notices other people watching him, thinking that he had certainly gone mad. The protagonist asks, "Gee, why the hell am I among these ugly demon beings?" An elderly demon then told him that the Blue Guild was approaching and that if they didn't escape, it would be too late. The protagonist then says, "Hey, what do you mean? Are you talking to me, old man?" Suddenly, our protagonist looks in the mirror and almost has a heart attack. "Why the hell did I turn into a demon?" He starts cursing the system, angry at having been reincarnated as a demon, and exclaims, "Didn't you say I was going to be reborn? I'm the light of the human race, you bastard. My beloved childhood wife is waiting for me at home, and this is the shit you've turned me into?" The other demons, confused, comment, "Dude, what's wrong with this guy?" And another replies, "I have no idea, he just freaked out." The system, all embarrassed, replies shyly, "Oh, I'm sorry, I think there was a bug during his rebirth." The protagonist, incredulous, retorts, "A bug? You're kidding me, it's not possible." He then asks the system to fix the damn bug, but the system says it can't. The protagonist, furious, almost breaks the system and asks where customer service is. "As soon as I serve customers, I'm not going to let this bug go to waste. I'll definitely complain." The system, in a panic, apologizes again and offers another chance to be reborn. The system's hint is, if you get killed again, you'll be reborn as a human. But if you try to kill yourself, it won't work. Reading this, the protagonist is incredulous. The other demons comment, "Why is Shangan acting like that?" And another replies, "He's always like that, he panics when something happened." Another demon adds, "When the human army attacks, someone as brainless as that will surely be extinguished." Meanwhile, Gon, our protagonist, is there, crying on the floor, wondering if his fiancée is ever going to get married again. Suddenly, a D-class demon mage called Lao Mayer detects 12 members of the Blue Guild approaching, as well as Her Highness, who has B+ level strength. She warns them that the rest of them are no match for the guild and that they must escape quickly via the escape route or they will be buried alive. Gon thinks, the Blue Guild is near. It's a guild of humans, and now I'm just a demon. He then smiles evilly, because if the humans kill him, he will surely be reborn. So he sets off in the direction of the humans, while the other demons wonder what he's doing, thinking he's gone mad, since there are humans in that passage. Gon then says that hiding won't solve solve their problem, and if he holds off the humans alone, then they can all escape. The other demons wondered if he was trying to sacrifice himself to protect us. It's not possible. This isn't the Shangan we know, the cowardly demon. Not even the old demon understood what was going on. Suddenly, a summoning symbol appeared above their heads, and the stones that came out of it ended up blocking the entrance. A demon named Lu arrives and says, "We grew up together, and at such a critical moment, no one will be left behind." Gon, desperate, thinks, "You wretch, don't even think about getting in the way of my rebirth." He then runs up to the stones and punches them, saying he'll get through. However, he can't even move the stones and instead loses 10 HP. He then exclaims, "Nosy woman, huh? But now my hand really hurt." The girl then says, "Nosy, me?" The old man then ended up getting very angry with our protagonist. He asked, "How dare he call your highness that?" The Gon replied, "Don't underestimate the determination of a man who sacrifices himself." The highness, all embarrassed, mutters, "How could I not have noticed that before? He has such a manly vibe." The other demons, meanwhile, comment, "Don't worry about him. If he wants to die, let him die." But Gon, determined, says, "All this time I was just hiding. What's so scary about humans? That a brave demon would allow me to die with dignity." He then looks back with a quizzical expression, hoping that no one will stop him this time. His Highness, touched by our protagonist's words, begins to cry. The little lord, realizing the situation, says, "Your Highness, let him go. Let's go." And so, finally, Gon manages to move on. Suddenly, he comes across a group of humans and declares, "Come on, my dears. 999 damage with just one blow. If you're a man, then kill me." Without hesitation, the humans attack our protagonist, seeing him as a great opportunity for experience. Gon, on the other hand, can only think that he would certainly be reborn as a human. Suddenly, however, several arrows start hitting the humans, and they realize that they have been ambushed. The little demon lord then says, "It's been 3 years, and I've almost forgotten the exciting battles alongside a demon king." The system then announces the demons are entering a short period of emotional excitement. Combat power has been increased, possibly even permanently leveling up. Our protagonist thinks, "Bro, I just want to leave, for God's sake." The old demon then declares, after the demon king's death, due to the lack of resistance, the humans continue to invade our lands, burning everything, killing and looting, treating the demons' lives like grass, considering us weak. But this time you're right, boy. Today the demons will resist. The frightened humans began to wonder what was going on and why the demons were reacting. Gon, observing the power of those demons, thought, "It's not possible that those demons are that strong. How did they fall for my sword?" The Highness then evolves to Class A, becoming a galaxy mage and high spirit. She finally says, "Just as you said, we are indispensable. Without each other we cannot survive." The humans, in despair, begin to say, "Didn't you say that the most powerful demon was B-class? How can there be a Class A among them?" Another human exclaims, "That's an absurd class jump." At that moment, Gon begins to conjure up immense power and launches the Garden Star attack on the humans, creating a gigantic crater in the area. It is mentioned that this was once how the glorious Blue Guild was completely annihilated and humiliated. The protagonist then thinks, "This time I didn't die. I've actually leveled up." The system confirms it, mentioning that he has indeed leveled up. After defeating the Blue Guild, he gained 10,230 experience points, rising to a Class D demon. The system then says, "Please assign your points and choose your skills." Among the items taken were the IP-13 fragment and the Golden Lotus. He also got bandages. Again, the system warns him that if he is killed again, he can be reincarnated as a human. Now, our protagonist is lying on the ground on his first day as a low-level demon, and all he wants to do is die. The scene then shifts to the capital of the Yun Kingdom, at Hua's residence. A demon says, "What did you say? The regrettable bridge plan failed miserably?" And another demon replies, "Yes, sir. Originally, we calculated the time precisely and expected His Highness to be surrounded by the Blue Guild. At the moment of greatest desperation, young Master Yin Jun would leave the demon soldiers to rescue him, showing his masculinity in front of His Highness. And finally, stepping over the corpses of the humans, he would embrace her. However, under the effect of the regrettable bridge, Her Highness ended up falling in love with June. But who would have thought that they would suddenly enter a state of high spirit at the critical moment and defeat the Blue Guild on their own? Unfortunately, our mission was a failure. They even say that His Highness has awakened the Queen's power. Another demon asks, General, what should we do? And the demon general, called Huan, replies, all military power is in my hands. As one of the 3 great demon commanders, we can force the court to marry Her Highness to my son. Who would dare oppose that? Call my son back. Tomorrow, we'll lead the troops to the court to ask for his hand. I've always said that this effect of the Wailing Bridge was stupid and completely useless. Suddenly, the scene switches to Her Highness, who is bathing. And I'm watching you. Pause that part. Her Highness then comments, I didn't expect that boy to be so brave at such a critical moment. She calls her maid and asks her to bring Dawn back later, saying that she wants to give him a nice reward. The maid, surprised, replies, a reward, Your Highness? I didn't know you were that naughty. With a smile, Your Highness says, understood. I'll take care of it. Meanwhile, our protagonist hears the system saying, System tip, your skills have not yet been selected. You have 121 points. Do you want to assign them now? Annoyed, he replies, what the hell? Why would I want to assign that shit? These attributes only make it harder to die. He then realizes that he is now an elite Class D demon and comments, Class D, huh? It should be easy to kill me, but this place is too far from humans. Who could come here to kill me? Suddenly, Her Highness's maid arrives and says that Her Highness is calling for him. Gon, his eyes wide, realizes that he has one eye on the fish and the other on the cat. With a crazy look on his face, he says, so, you've come here, have you? He starts to push her away and asks her if she's drunk. Then he quickly says, could you help me with something simple? Could you, I don't know, kill me? She shies away from our protagonist's words, thinking that normally Xiao Gon is very quiet and hardly speaks. How can he be so aggressive when he's drunk? I guess she never had an alcoholic father, huh? Suddenly, she picks up a gigantic 100-ton hammer, similar to Sogeking's, and brings it down on the protagonist's head. She says, today is not the right time, since today you belong to Our Highness. The scene changes and Gon is facing the Highness. She says, Gon Lu, due to your heroic performance on the road this time, I will specially award you a first-class bravery medal. From now on, you can freely enter and leave the palace. What's more, the special reward is called Kill King 7, and it can help you become a true hero. The maid then says, His Highness's reward is actually the sacred battle dress of the ancient demon lord. Even His Highness is reluctant to wear it. The protagonist, for his part, can only think, good heavens, what a useless gift. It only makes things more complicated for me, who just wants to die. He then turns around and says, if there's nothing else, I'll come back. The 2 women are surprised by his calmness, and the Highness comments, he really has changed a lot. He's so kind. But Gon thinks, these guys are going to get their asses kicked like never before in the history of demons. Gon then left the palace and realized that there were some people outside watching everything. One of the men present was one of the 3 great demons of the legislation of the Yun Kingdom, called Wei Ming. He thought, it's not normal to summon someone to the palace in the middle of the night. It turns out I was supposed to give the ancient demon king's divine equipment to this pawn, just because he was brave once during the escape. The man says, a reward level like that should be presented in front of all the demon ministers. Doing it on the sly is not worthy of a king. He reflects, instead, I owe my whole life to the kingdom of Yun. And you, Bai Ying, are blind if you think that's the only reward. You're forcing me to side with General Hua, and from tomorrow. Suddenly, Gon approaches an old man and says, hey, old man. The man thinks, what does this brat want with me? Does he want to show off? He wonders how shameless the protagonist is. He'd barely obtained those benefits and was already making a big deal of himself. Gon says, see this set here? It's for you. The old man couldn't believe that Gon was giving him such an important outfit. The protagonist can only think, man, I just want to die. This is so useless to me, it doesn't help me at all. He then tries to come up with an excuse. His Highness, thinking of your tireless service to the kingdom of Yun, decided that you would be the perfect person to wear this set. The 3 demons present couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. Wei Ming almost had a heart attack and apologized to Her Highness for having doubted her, saying that he was a worthless wretch and deserved to die. After all all this, he promises to serve the kingdom until death. Returning to Gon, he is sitting on a ladder and comments, "It seems that dying in this place is out of the question, since the demons around here seem to be very united. Tomorrow, I'll find a new place to die." Suddenly, he hears two demons talking, and one of them says, "Young master, have you come back yet?" The other asks, "Why did my father call me so urgently?" The man replies, "Young master, the great general has decided to act tomorrow. He will directly lead the elite demon soldiers, representing the three great demon commanders, to propose to his highness at court that anyone who dares to oppose him will be killed without mercy." And our protagonist, who was listening to all this, thought, "Lead the troops and kill without mercy. If that's the case, then I'll have to stay in this miserable place for another day." Since it was the perfect moment for him to try to sacrifice himself, the scene shifts to the second day, in Hangwa's conference hall, where several important demons were gathered. The protagonist then thinks, "I didn't expect the demon clan's morning meeting to be so tedious like this, but let's cut to the chase." One of the demons present says, "The princess has mourned the death of the demon king for 3 years, and now she returns to the great hall. Truly, it is a cause for celebration. The human army is 100 miles away and is silent. Thanks to the great general's protection, we haven't lost a single city." The highness then replied, "The great general is truly remarkable. Since my grandfather's generation, he has been in command of the entire army, protecting the kingdom of Yun. He should be heavily rewarded for that." The general replies, "If your highness wishes it, I have only one wish, my highness." He then calls Yujun and says, "Please, your highness, grant marriage to my son. After all, the two of you grew up together." The highness, surprised, says, "We haven't seen each other for 3 years, have we, Yujun? Is there someone you'd like to marry?" The general insists, "Please, your highness, marry my son, Yujun." His highness was even more surprised by his words and replied, "Please, general, don't joke about such things. Yujun and I aren't even close." The general, however, retorts, "It doesn't matter if you like him or not. In the face of the greater good, everything else must be put aside. 1,000 years ago, no woman ever had power in the court of the demon clan. Now, rumors are spreading, and people are losing faith in the kingdom of Yun. After his highness ascends the throne, there will certainly be a huge uproar. But if you marry Yujun, that will surely silence all the people." The demons present commented that it made a lot of sense and that Yujun was handsome and brave and an excellent choice. However, the old archdemon, furious, shouts, "You scoundrel, using such unfounded reasons to force your highness's hand." With all that pressure, the highness is confused. At that moment, our protagonist, with a scoundrel look on his face, thinks, "Well, now's my chance." The old man asks, "What is Gon trying to do?" He then grabs her arm and says, "Don't let that broken old man tell you what to do. Everyone has the right to pursue happiness." The demons are surprised by our protagonist's attitude, and the highness seems to be in love for good. Our protagonist then said, "You old man, who gave you the courage to boss the leader around like that?" However, the demon highness was still afraid, and when she tried to refuse, the general said, "I've been working devotedly for the kingdom of Yun all my life. Now, I am the only one from Yun to be personally granted the magical order of 2 successive demon kings and to be rewarded in front of all the ministers as the great general. I advise your highness to think carefully before answering me." His highness's guards speak up, "Are you trying to force our highness? You'd better get out of here now." Another guard says, "Be very careful with your behavior." The general then replied, "Military power is in my hands. How dare you confront me like this?" His highness intervenes, "Everyone stop now. General, are you sure? I agree with you." At this point, our protagonist starts laughing like crazy and says, "Foolish woman, are you giving up so easily? Is there not a shred of your father's imperial spirit left in you? What's so scary about that man in front of you?" The general, irritated, asks, "Since when do you have the right to speak, boy?" Our protagonist, without hesitation, spits in the general's face and says, "I've served 3 different dynasties. Think about it. Who gave you your military power? Now you think you're powerful, right? A dog in the office bullying others, general?" The general then says, "You've got to be kidding me." And the protagonist says, "Besides, she's the demon king. She's above everyone and everything, with incomparable beauty. And who are you old shit, to compare yourself to her?" The general retorts, "What nonsense you're talking, you imbecile boy. Who is more worthy than my own son?" The protagonist smiles and replies, "I'm more worthy, since we've been committed to each other for a few days." He then, still smiling, thinks, "I can't believe he's not going to kill me after that. The old demon comments, I can't believe this boy is humiliating the general like this. The maid, shocked, exclaims, a relationship with your highness? I can't believe it. Some demons who were watching the whole thing commented, who is this madman? I'd never seen him before. Another demon adds, when her highness was surrounded by the Blue Guild, they said it was this man who defended her. Upon hearing this, her highness shies away from the protagonist's words, while he continues to mock the general. Yes, yes, come on. You can come and kill me. I want to see if you have the guts. The general, enraged, shouts, insulting the general in court and now insulting his highness. You have committed a capital crime at this very moment, and today you will pay for it. The demons asked everyone to move away, as the general was about to use his final move. With all his strength, the general lands a point-blank blow on the protagonist. The old demon commented that he was late to save the boy, while Gon was worried because his wife was waiting for him and they could finally meet again. The general's blow explodes, and everyone watches the smoke rising. However, in the middle of the fire, the protagonist stands up again, to the surprise of the general's son. The system then announces, military magic order activated. Fatal blows successfully blocked. Unexpectedly, the protagonist rises 40 levels, thanks to the power of the military magic order. Some demons ask, Your Highness, did you give him the military magic order? That can only be used once in a lifetime by the Demon King. It is explained that a demon granted with the military magic order represents the complete trust of the Demon King, gaining the king's accumulated experience and unique protection, as well as occupying an important position in the command of military power in the future. His Highness then spoke, My grandfather and father certainly granted you the magical military order, and from it you led the 3 armies, leading all the soldiers of the kingdom of Yun in life and death battles. Now, once again, I hand over the magic order to Gon Li Hu. From now on, Gon Li Hu will be the general of the right and, together with the general of the left, Hunan, will lead our entire demon army. The general, irritated, replied, Lu Benji, how dare you balance my military power with that young brat? One day you'll all bow at my feet. The demons of the Highness's court say, Greetings to the general of the right. Congratulations, General Gon, lead the 3 armies. Everyone then knelt down and began to hail Gon as the new general of the right. However, the protagonist was not happy. He could hardly believe what was happening and felt as bad as if he had eaten something bad. The general continues, Indeed, the magic order alone provokes Her Highness's confidence in him. But how can someone who has never led troops in battle convince a group of experienced demons? It's all very well sharing my military power, but I'll only let it pass if he manages to get through the ancestral demon cave. Ancestor Lion is the only king of our clan, and only those recognized by the ancestors deserve the power of a king. If he can get through the ancestral demon cave, I'll hand over the talisman of military power myself. One of the demons then comments angrily, that cave has been considered forbidden for a long time. No one has come out alive in almost 100 years. What is your intention in going in there? Another demon reinforced, the general has proved his worth. We obey the Demon King. Do you dare defy the order again? The queen adds, Yes, not at all. That cave is considered forbidden, and entering it means certain death, without proving anything at all. The protagonist replies, No one has come out of there alive in almost 100 years, so going in means certain death, doesn't it? The general then teases, Then you're all a bunch of cowards. Our protagonist, always provocative and ready to take risks, says, General, you're very sensible and I agree with you completely. So, could you please tell me where the Devil's Cave is? Let's say I want to go there. This surprises everyone present, including the general. He then explains that, 200 years ago, the demon tribe faced a major crisis. The ancestral demon king of the Lu clan sacrificed himself to protect his people, sealing his last demonic energy inside a mysterious cave, awaiting the arrival of the next king. However, for 100 years, no demon has passed that test. The general explains that entering the demon's cave requires a team of at least 2 people. He asks, Apart from me, who else would dare enter that place? All the demons agree that it is extremely dangerous and that no one wants to face death. The general teases, if he can't find someone to enter the cave, how can he manage thousands of troops? At that moment, Yu Jun applies, which makes his father furious. He shouts, What the hell are you talking about, kid? Who gave you permission to act like that? Yu Jun replies, Dad, do you really think I'm inferior to that guy? Only those recognized by the ancestors deserve the power of a king. If the kingdom of Yun is to have a king, that king must be me. The demons comment, moment, as expected of Yujun, he not only has strength, but also a lot of courage. However, his father is not satisfied. Changing the scene, a demon approaches Yujun and says, "Your master's decision is correct. Gon is practically cheating and has no real strength, unlike you, master, who has stood out since childhood. We can't let him steal your limelight. You can find an opportunity during the mission in the demon's cave to eliminate him directly." Yujun replies that he knows what to do. Meanwhile, he is literally straightening his hair, not because he wants to marry the princess, but because he wants to be her friend. Switching back to the protagonist, one of the demons says, "This Yujun is very proud, ruthless, and selfish. He won't let anyone get the better of him and will certainly betray him. Be careful with that." Our protagonist, with his typical irreverence, replies, "Betray me? Huh? One more chance to get killed." One of the demons calls the protagonist and offers him the best buff potion and healing potion in the kingdom of Yun, because the demon's cave is extremely dangerous. The demon advises Gon to be very careful, as any carelessness could result in death. Gon, with a smile, replies, "You're very exaggerated, huh?" The scene changes to the cave of the ancient demon. Our protagonist and Yujun are already prepared to enter the cave, with many people around watching. Our protagonist hands Yujun a bag of healing potions and says that these potions are for him. The demon woman then asks, "Are you really ready for this mission?" The Highness asks Xian Gon to make sure that nothing bad happens. At that moment, no one knew it yet, but the demon king who would influence the whole world was about to be born. The magic formation activates, creating a huge summoning symbol around them. They are then thrown into the dungeon, which reveals itself as the Ancestors' Trial Dungeon. The D-class monster is a specialist in ghost bat souls. The two young men, Yujun and the protagonist, face off against some ghost bats. Yujun notes that he doesn't know all the types of monsters in the cave. The protagonist remembers what the woman told him earlier. Yujun was proud, ruthless, and selfish, and would certainly try to betray him behind his back. The protagonist, not caring about his own safety, thinks that his defense is so weak that he could easily be attacked from behind. Yujun observes the protagonist's attitude with suspicion and wonders why he is exposing himself in such a way without knowing who the enemy is. The protagonist, aware of what he's doing, thinks, "Now I've completely exposed my back to you. Make your move." Yujun, ready to attack, draws his weapons. Suddenly, a flower flew past the protagonist's face and an attack called Flower Grave cut a flower and a monster in half. Yujun used his single blow on the creature, surprising the protagonist. The bats start attacking. Yujun spreads flowers over the monsters and uses a slash to defeat them all at once. He then explains to the protagonist, "You may have noticed that there are many malevolent spirits here, similar to bats that blend into the shadows. You use this clever strategy to attract them by exposing weakness and leading them to me. As I'm the strongest demon, I can deal with them all at once. I don't think you'll be able to reach me that way." The protagonist, irritated, comments, "I've never seen you use your brain like that." As Yujun continues to destroy the creatures, the protagonist thinks, "I just wanted to expose myself to be killed in the back, but that idiot imagined we were working together. Now all the monsters are after him." Due to the high damage caused, Yujun becomes the monster's main target. The protagonist, disappointed, thinks, "Neither Yujun nor the monsters killed me, and the current level of danger is 0. Now he's become the safest person in the place. I need to lure all the monsters to kill me." He checks the system and sees that he still has 480 unallocated attribute points and wonders where to apply them. After Yujun has cleaned up, he says that this must be the deepest part of the map, and he reflects on our protagonist and that he's done absolutely nothing so far. He wonders if he has no real power, and maybe he's just a useless demon trying to gain experience here. Meanwhile, Yujun, who is at a disadvantage, faces a system alert, triggering dungeon plot, Demon King's Messenger Defense Battle. Challenge level, Class 8, challenge time, 20 minutes. Condition, resist the siege of the Demon King's Messenger. Note, the messenger in front of you has no weaknesses. Fearsome creatures appear before them. Yujun starts to attack, but a creature of fire hits a glowing rock in his direction. He narrowly dodges, but is trapped by vines. Yujun thinks that the protagonist was watching him and that he was at a disadvantage, and if he wasn't going to make a move, he must surely be a helpless waste, and he ended up overestimating our protagonist. The protagonist decides to use all 480 points in strength, without adding points in defense. He does enough damage to attract the monster's provocation and, finally, all the monsters begin to turn turn towards him. Yoo-jun, seeing the protagonist in action, says, "As expected, no one in this world can compare to me." He then uses his strongest attack, causing a huge explosion, but the system indicates a 90% damage reduction. Yoo-jun becomes desperate, as he can't break through the monster's armor and realizes that there are no weaknesses, so their defense must be extremely high, and that really wasn't good, and another of the monsters ends up trapping him in a large purple sphere that was forming underneath him. At the critical moment, the protagonist appears with a surprise attack and defeats one of the monsters with a punch, which was enough for the monster to be pierced in the stomach. The messengers are confused and leave Yoo-jun to focus on the protagonist. Yoo-jun, impressed, thinks, with just one blow, he managed to defeat a demon messenger. This means that messengers have no weaknesses, but their weakness is their back. He foresaw everything and hid his strength to expose the messenger's weak point. Interesting. Yoo-jun concludes that the protagonist is very interesting indeed.